everyone, welcome to another episode in What Still Works, the series where I go through my art supplies and see what still works for me. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Irit. I am a watercolor and mixed media artist, mostly watercolor. So everything I'm going through in this series, all the supplies that I'm using, have to work with watercolors, and that's kind of the focus of the series. If you want a dedicated review for any of the supplies that I use, you're probably better off searching someplace else. But if you're also into mixed media, if you love watercolors and you want to see what other supplies you can combine successfully with them and kind of join me as I play and explore, then hopefully you will enjoy this video and the series. I'll put the playlist here so you can see the previous episodes. There are 4 videos so far in the series where I go through all of my different types of pastels. And now we are moving on to pencils. Now I have a lot of pencils and I regularly use pencils in my artwork. And but I don't use all of the pencils that I have, and I think, oh, the cats are here. They are destroying the area. And I think it'll be fun to see what works for me. So today I'm going to play with the Stabilo CarbOthello chalk pastel coloring pencils. And these are... Okay, to be honest with you, I made the mistake of buying a few. That wasn't the mistake. That is what I always recommend, like getting a few of from the colors that you love the most. So I actually started with these, and I bought these years ago, and I think they're great, but I never really managed to find a way to kind of implement them to my regular creative practice. And, you know, then I fell down some YouTube rabbit hole and saw someone using them and decided I need a bigger set, which is honestly just, it's kind of dumb, because if I can't use the ones that I have, then, you know, I shouldn't buy a bigger set. But I am guilty of making these kind of rash decisions. So in today's video, I'm going to use these. I am sure there are other pastel pencils on the market. I don't even know if these are, you know, the best. Cats are in my trash. But this is what I have, and I just have to, if you want to pick up a few, I always get these kinds of questions like which one to get. I always believe just get colors you love. I really don't think that there's anything like an essential color. I mean, maybe black or white, but there are tons of artists that never use black or white, so what do I know? But a few of my favorites, and there are more. There's a bigger set than this one. You can also buy these open stock. Again, I really recommend just picking out a few. This is a beautiful color. It says 545. It's like this really beautiful minty color. And then I also like this one. This is 365. They don't have, sadly, names. And then this one is also pretty, 430. For me, the attraction of these would be to add accents on top of a watercolor painting in a less messy way than pastels. So for that, I can see the advantage of these. My kids really like them because the colors are really nice and vibrant. And, you know, it's a very satisfying kind of experience, especially compared to regular pencils from, you know, like lesser quality. So here you really see like the colors are really nice and vibrant. So there is definitely something... Sorry about the noise. Talk to my cats. I don't know why the trash is so appealing to them. Okay, so I fast forwarded a little bit. So We don't have to watch it real time because I think that's a little bit too slow, and I can share my thoughts with you about these pencils. Well, I'm going to start my process with actually using the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 1. I don't think these particular type of pencils are, I don't think they make sense to be used. I don't think, that was grammatically horrible. I don't think it makes sense to use them first as a first layer. I don't really like how they react with watercolors. With water, or like nothing interesting goes on there, and so I think the biggest, let's say, kind of strong point of these particular pencils is to use them as accents, and also that I have a few reservations about that. So if you haven't seen my process before, it's been pretty kind of repetitive lately, even with playing around with other products. But yeah, I really like to start my abstract floral watercolor paintings with these scribbles. I use the Neocolor 1. They are wax pastels that are water resistant, and they are fantastic. They are perfect for sketchbooks because they are kind of waxy. They're not oily. They don't relieve residue. They don't move around. You put them down and they stay there, but they're still very pigmented. And so the resist is really, really good and much better than any kind of pencil that I've tried. I mean, I think it's also the formulation, but it's also just the fact that, pastels are just bigger than pencils. So you just get a thicker line that resists more easily than a thin pencil line. But that's how I like to start. And I didn't even try using the pastel pencils at this stage. Let's start with what I like about them. I like some of the colors. I think if you use them like I'm using them, which is mostly as a layer on top of something that's already there, some colors, I find the light colors are very weak. It could be a brand thing. Maybe I'm sure there are maybe better pastel pencils out there where the light colors are more pigmented, but pretty much all of the light colors that I tried here were very, very anemic. So if you want like a really nice highlight, go with something else, like oils, or even like oil pastels, or even soft pastels, which just deposit more product. The formulation of these, obviously they can't be too soft because then they would just fall apart. It does feel as close to using a hard pastel, and it also kind of reminds me of the experience of using charcoal. So that, that kind of like scratchy feel that you get when you move it across the paper, which I like. I like those lines. It's a pleasant experience for me in that way. And it definitely reminded me of the charcoal pencils from Derwent that I love and will be featured on the series, even though they're not a product that I have neglected. It's something that I use often and love, but it's kind of the same experience. The colors are different, but I think the formulation is, I would say, kind of similar to that, if you're wondering. This is definitely a much cleaner experience than using a hard pastel. So for me, between these pencils and hard pastels, these pencils win. And just on cleanliness and ease of use, they sharpen quite easily. You can see the set comes with a Stabilo sharpener. It works really well. You can sharpen them to a sharp point, but because, they're still kind of soft, it's still a pastel. It still has like that chalky formulation to it. You will need to sharpen it often to keep that tip sharp, but it works really well without any problems. So that is a plus. I really enjoyed using some of the brighter colors that are kind of a mid-tone, so not really, really light ones. As I said, the light ones I found to be pretty anemic and honestly kind of useless. I'm really thinking I won't be using those much, but you can see now I chose this really lovely color story from the pencils that I have. And yeah, so these were the colors that I mostly enjoyed, these kind of bright midtones, so kind of like a magenta color. And you'll see I found a really, really beautiful muted violet color. It kind of reminds me of a violet umber in tone, really, really lovely. As for the dark colors, this particular set, I have to look at the like open stock or the full range. This particular set didn't really have any colors that spoke to me. It has either like very saturated darks, which I'm showing you the tip. It's so pointy, lovely. Like really dark green, like a very kind of primary green, really dark blue, really dark purple. And then all of the muted colors, the neutral colors, are browns. And then there's like one light gray and one black pencil. So I don't think the color range in this set is particularly good for my taste, which makes, buying the set such a dumb decision. I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it. I think the product is good. And I think, for what it is, I think it's a good quality product. And if you love all the colors, if you love all the colors in the set, then go ahead. But for me, I'm so particular with color. It was a really dumb decision. So, I mean, it looks pretty. But my kids really love these pencils, or Lily at least, my 5-year-old. She really enjoys them. So here I'm adding some patterns, and this was really enjoyable. As I said, there's something about the formulation here that deposits the pigment much more easily than all of my other pencils, like all of my coloring pencils. It's really nice. It's like this chalky feel to it. Very, just really, really pigmented. Sometimes with coloring pencils, even if the quality is great, you kind of have to push a little bit, right, to get kind of an intense or opaque application. And with these, it's really easy. So I guess if, maybe you have some arthritis or, those kinds of issues, joint problems in your hands, you might find these enjoyable. They're very light to hold and just very easy to use. I think, check out other videos of people that use these exclusively. I know there's a really lovely channel, can't remember the name of. I'll try to add a link. She does these weekly videos, and I think her name is Jen, I'm not sure. But I'll really try to link, and if I don't link, then please remind me in the comments, and I'll try to search for her. It's just there's time passes between narration till I edit the video and upload it and everything. So sometimes I forget, or I can't listen to everything I said again. So yeah, but I'll try to find that for you. And she uses these. I think she's the one that made me buy the whole set. I blame her for it. But she used them really nicely. And another aspect of them that I really enjoyed, again, with the darker colors or kind of midtones, mid-tone darker colors, was really adding some depth and texture. So if you work in kind of layers, if you're used to, let's say, put a first layer with watercolors and then add shading and such with pencils, then you really might enjoy this. Again, I don't think the light colors are worth the money, but I haven't used them extensively enough to be very strongly opinionated about that. So I definitely lean more to, I enjoyed the brighter but less, not so light colors. So yeah, for shading and that sort of thing, I did enjoy them, and it was a really kind of fast and easy and clean way of adding some texture to my florals. I definitely want to take away a few of the colors that I used here, like that gorgeous mint and that bright violet, that muted violet, and the pink also, maybe one of the brighter yellows, and just keep them around because yeah, they are, you can see now, like I'm doing this shading thing. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really good way of using them. And it is something that I would like to explore more. I'm trying to think like, okay, they do this, but maybe another product does this and more. And I think what is nice about these, unlike something else I would consider using in the same way, so adding like shading or something without using watercolors, is that probably most of the other products I would use would either really react with the water, and then I have the risk of getting like these dark muddy areas, or they would resist it, so I wouldn't be able to add water on top. Now, with these pastel pencils, it was actually pretty easy, and yeah, it went well to go back in with watercolors. If I wanted to, I could apply build the layers of watercolors. The pencils, they don't resist water, is what I'm trying to say. So you can kind of build intensity with them together with watercolors, and it went really, really well. They don't move too much with water. So I think they move less than pastels do, like hard and soft ones. So I found that a quality that could really work well for me. Like here, after playing around with the pencils, I want to add more intensity with some saturated, vibrant watercolors, and it went really well. So I feel like it's something I need to explore a bit more, but I definitely enjoyed some of the things that these pencils did. I think they look pretty. They feel really nice because they're very light. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe you like your pencils to have a bit more weight to them. But I actually enjoyed it. You know, you can get kind of free with your movements and just play around with them. I haven't dropped them much, so I don't know how fragile they are. I think my kids dropped them a few times. They must have, right? I don't remember one ever breaking on me. But again, I haven't used them enough to tell you that, you know, they can resist some serious abuse. I don't know that. So I hope this was helpful to you. I think as I continue to explore my other pencils, if you're wondering what those are, for example, I have the Inktense pencils, which I have actually used many times and never really fell in love with them. So I have those, and then, yeah, I have to look at my stash. I have a lot of coloring pencils and a lot of watercolor pencils, but I use those regularly and enjoy them. So we'll see what else I have that we can explore. And then I'll go back to the, you know, the top picks of the pencil lineup and create something with them. So the watercolors that I used, by the way, are all from the March color story. You can check out that video that I posted in the beginning of the month. I'm really enjoying just having a go-to combination of colors that kind of allows me to play with other art supplies. So that works really well for me. And of course, I still love the colors, and yeah, they give me the feels. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't buy a big set. Don't buy the whole thing. Just grab a few if you want to try them. See you soon. Bye.